Hi, this is Irina Busa again. Video number 3. In this one, I would like to share with you a few tips about how you can use the senses in a fail-proof system. How can you make sure that you succeed, you reach your goal, and you involve your senses to do that? You have them anyways, you just need to put them to work. They're gonna help you big time. So this is what I would want to share with you. Speaking again about motivation, right? So we're going back to our big vision. We felt our goal. We know how to go there. And now we want to make sure that whenever on the way is going to happen that we don't feel as motivated to go ahead, we have something to rely on. There is something there that is going to kick in and help us move again. And again, we are using our senses, and this is how we're going to do it. At the beginning of the process, when we say this is what I want to accomplish, this is what it feels like, we are going to also pick a few things in our physical environment around us, even your house, around your desk, at work, everywhere, in places that you go often. Pick a few things that give you pleasure, and they link to your senses, obviously. So let's say a favorite song. It's a favorite song, and you want to use it. Let's say it's a phone ring. You put it on your favorite, put your favorite song, make it the ring on your phone. Every time the phone rings is going to bring up the memory that you are actually doing something for yourself. Every time you hear the song, you work it in your head. You're thinking now that this pleasure that this song is giving me, because it's one of my favorites, is reminding me that I'm doing this for myself. I have this objective. It's going to keep you going. It's going to remind you. It's going to keep you motivated to go ahead. Then you can use the smell, a delightful smell. It's something that you really like. You can use candles, or you can use perfume. One favorite perfume, I actually had a client at some point. She was doing her objective was linked to her family, and she was using her mother's perfume. Every time she would smell it, she would think of her mother, and she would feel motivated to do what she had engaged in. And that would really help her go ahead in a much easier way, more pleasant, more natural, if anything. You can use essential oils. Many of them are like so healthy too, other than really nicely smelling. You can use fruits that you like and they smell good to you. Also, taste. You can use tea if you want a calorie-free type of motivation. You can also use foods if you like something that you go back to frequently, and that is going to remind you that you're on this path for a reason. And every time you run into that smell or that taste, you are going to think, okay, I'm doing this because. You're thinking of that big motivation, and you're nourishing all that. You're refueling every time you get to sense these anchors with the meaning. You're trying to link the two, to make the connection. Okay, then let's go to images. This is an easy one because we see things all the time. You can use a wallpaper for your computer, a screensaver. You can use a wallpaper for your phone, even more frequent. You can pull out an old picture that really reminds you of something and connect you deeply with your goal, or a new one if that happens to connect you that way. You can even print out and put quotes in a place that you go to very frequently. Or let's say your goal, I'm just saying, maybe your goal is to lose weight. It's very common, that's why I'm bringing it up. And this is your dress that you used to wear when you were like a size 6, you know, and you take it out and you look at that, and every time you pass by you see it, you're reminded that, you know, I'm doing this because, and it's motivating you. You're looking at that and you know that you're on the right path. You are doing what you are, you know, what you promised yourself you were going to do. It could be jewelry, if you like to wear a piece of jewelry that's really going to remind you why you're doing all this. But you see, all that, every time you happen to to see them, to feel them, are going to bring you back to your motivation, are going to make it bigger, are going to keep it alive. Many times we start projects and we feel really good about them at the beginning, but as time passes, kind of fizzles out and we don't feel as much like, maybe it's not really what I wanted to do in the end. We don't really make it. But this way, if you connect from the beginning in all possible ways with the deepest motivation you can have available, and it's available to you at all times because it's in you, you increase your chances to succeed. Now, you might think, okay, first you might think this is a bit silly. It's new, I agree, but it's very, very efficient, because what derails you when you want to give up are the senses. This way, if you set it up properly from the beginning, you tell them how to guide you. They don't guide you by default. So you are using them the way you decide for your own purpose. It is not, you know, life happening to you. It is life happening for you. You have a contribution. You set up the terms. This is how you want it to happen. And you might even question how they work. Yes, you do connect with them. Like every time you know, you get to see them, to feel them, to touch them, to hear them. You make the mental exercise of linking the pleasure with the goal that you are going to achieve. But it's also something else. They are going to keep you accountable, because you think every time, like, maybe I forgot, I was just into something else and I see it. Yes, you know what, I did not do today what I thought I was gonna do. How about I do it now? They keep you accountable. Did you do it? You see them, you feel them everywhere. So then they kind of keep you going that way too. And going back to changing behaviors, many times what we want to change about ourselves is something that we keep on doing and we would like to change. Those are behaviors. Many times they come so easily to us, we don't think that they're automatic. It's automatic pilots. How am I going to change that? Every time I see that anchor and that reminds me of why I'm doing this, is like a pattern interrupt. I'm doing what I'm doing, and then no, I'm not doing that. I'm changing, I'm switching to something else. The more I do this, the more I interrupt a habit, the pattern that I used to have up until now. The more I disrupt that behavior, the weaker it gets, and the more leaves me room to build something else instead. So I think this way, at least these two explanations are going to make it real for you, less silly if you want. And then there's something else that I would also like to talk to you. Still about motivation, and still about what's bound to happen. Let's say you took 3 months, you set your goal for the next 3 months. At the end of the 3 months, I'm going to have this. But you know, 3 months is a long time. And of course, especially if you set up a challenging enough goal, you are going to have moments when you want to just give up. And critical situations like this need preparation. You know they're going to come. You cannot just start something hoping they're not going to show up, because you know they will. It's only by luck that they don't, but you want to be prepared. So when that happens, what do you do? And ahead of time, it's good to just think back of your life and just choose a critical situation that you've been in, and we all have those. And go back to that moment or that situation in time and think what was really supportive, or who was really supportive. How did you get support, and how did you ask for support? What worked for you, and which in which format, if you want. What kind of support do you usually um, want and you are able to use? Who is the person that is going to give you that support? Think of all these details ahead of time. What is it that actually keeps you standing when the weather is not good? So think back and analyze for a second. How much of that do you still have today? How much did you learn about yourself in that situation? How can you apply it when that type of situation happens again? How do you provision for that situation in the future? So think of who, what, how, be ready, and when that moment happens, do not panic. Just tell yourself it's normal and you're prepared. You know how to go through it. It is the nature of the beast. This is how we overcome challenges, and you're ready for that. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I would love to hear from you. Send me comments, tell me what you thought, and I'm wishing you best of luck. Thank you.